Hello, this is Gmodism Total Nerdy Channel, and I was sitting around and twinkering with my little tutorial car because I wanted to make it better. And I have some improvements that I would want to share with you. So we are basically having a little ACF pimp video where we pimp up the car some heavily. Partly what I thought was a less cool part with a tutorial car is that my suspension was too hard. So now I have invented a really soft and relaxed suspension. And then another thing that we will do is that we will have a bit more sharp steering. Still using the exact same system, but applying a few settings we can make it a bit more sharp and so on. Basically better steering. And then we will also lastly be going through some better grip to make the car have better road grip. If you have ACF extras you can do this. Alright, we will begin with locating the car and spawning it. Then we will actually use advanced ball socket, and you might notice that north, south and west and east matter very much to how the ball socket works, so you have to locate north. And you can do this by spawning something that are located north or using your spray. I don't really know, my spray isn't working. So you can use the paint tool instead. If you go to where is the paint tool, damn it, here, and smile, and then you see this smiley things point that way. You can also check, you can see that's the upward, but if on the ground it's always facing that way, so that's north. Just to check, mechs use ball sockets very much. They point north. So that's a very unpractical way of checking that. So basically we're taking the car, we are unfreezing it and pointing it in the north direction, which is, it is not a sad face, it's a smiley face, you know. So and you need to be really accurate, so Shift E to make it snap to your position. Whoa, now I turned off Physcam build mode. And now you also will need to use your color tool. That lagged. Okay, and you know the steering rod we used. Press right click on those so we can see them, and it's a bit easier to work with. So now we will take up advanced ball socket, here, ball socket advanced, and force limit or torque limit should be 0. X minimum should be minus 180 and X maximum should be plus 180. The other settings are inverted, that is Y minimum is plus 180 and Y maximum is minus. It's inverted, as same as the Z axis. Minimum 180, maximum minus 180. We have 0 friction on them all, and make sure to check free movement. Now we will left click the wheel, and then whoops, now we clicked twice at the wheel. Just check in here to undo. That's good. And we can undo what? Never mind. So I take back that. Don't trust that evil thing. It's evil. Like that. Now they're straight. And now, where were we? Right, the ball socket. Left click on. That's the advanced duplicator. Here. Left click on the wheel, and then on the steering rod. Check it in the edge, you don't accidentally hit the wheel again. like that. Now the steering axes are a bit stabilized, actually. And now we are going to do, to fix this, we're actually going to fix another thing with the steering while we're on it. Now go into wire mod, constant value. We will have a 2-value thing. Value number 1 should be 50,000. That's 50,000. And number 2 should be 2,000. You could actually just add this to the current one if you add more values, but then you need to copy it, and I'm lazy, so I'm spawning a new one. Yay. Take your wire tool, locate these ones. Hydraulic wire controller they are called. I don't know why we did this, why we didn't do this before, but maybe I didn't. I think I learned it recently. Oh, whatever. Whatever. This will make the steering more violent, or more fast, you could say, or strong. So constant should be 50,000. Connect them all up to that, and damping should be 2,000. Is the best values I have been told, and it seems to be true. Now it's always smart to make copies of it, but we will actually check something. This is the old car version. You can see here, if we scroll out a bit, you can see the steering like this. Works fine. Then we made a new copy of our little improved steering. And then if we jump in here, you can see that the steering is instant, very fast. And this actually matters quite much when racing. So that's why. And now we will actually add another ball socket to stabilize things up. I just realized. Now we have inverted settings of X and Y, but we have normal settings for Z. That is, minimum is -180 and maximum is +180. Y, you can see these two, Y and X, are reverted. This will make, I can show you an example, like that. So basically, they can move however, but not in that direction. So this should stabilize up our steering some bit. If we do like this, and the same on that one. And we do a little check. Looks fine. Now let's do that suspension. We will remove what we built before, part by part, so we don't accidentally do something wrong. So we freeze all the parts, press reload on all the things, but the only one that was welded was the gearbox. Now we can take the gearbox and install it here under instead, like that. Now we just weld it to the base plate. Like that. Oh, sorry, I welded the wrong thing. Like that. Oh, right. Force limit. Do not have force limit. That's stupid. Why was there a force limit on? Well, I don't know. Okay, so if you use force limit, you will actually break it when you touch it with the fizz gun. That's what force limit is, if you didn't know. Now, we are back to normal. Like that. I think there are no ball socket advanced on these, no. There are, however, axis center on those two. Remove those. We remove by pressing reload, actually. And that rings true for all the constraints. So take a rope tool and reload on this rod, and it will remove all the ropes. Now we take remover and remove that rod. Exactly like that. So do not unfreeze anything. Maybe you should make a copy for safety. Well, now what we want to do is take the advanced ball socket. Now we will have that X is the normal axis and the other ones are inverted. That is, X is minus, minimum minus, maximum plus. Y is minimum plus, maximum minus, as well as Z. If you got that, that creates these slaver settings. Hit the wheel, hit the base plate. Other side, oops, hit the wheel, hit the base plate. After that we will have some fun with ropes. Take your ropes, I have them visible just to see what I'm doing. Check rigid, add length must be 0 as well as force limit. And now we will go to the opposite side, and this suspension method is something that I have invented by combining a prop weld suspension with Gmodism's rope thing suspension. So you see her 3 bits away, we left click on that spot. We can follow this line if we like to, but it doesn't matter because we are actually going directly to the center of the wheel, like there, where we must right click. After that we go back to here, 3 away from the base plate to make it symmetrical, and left click. Now we do the same for the other wheel, so we want them like equal, so we follow this line here and we go 3 away and we'll left click, we go to the wheel and we make it need to be centered, so you have to add smart snap, it must be centered. Right click, go back here, 3 away, there, and left click. Excellent. Now we can make a little duplication. I show you what we have created. When this is spawned, we can unfreeze the wheels and you see they will hang like this. And of course this will not work like that, so we need to add another step. But this is what this does. We basically have an axis thing. We could unfreeze this. I think we actually could use it even though it looks stupid. Alright, the engine doesn't work, but whatever, you see. Oh lol. Anyways, now we should be going to drag those down a bit, because we will need it to be a bit more distanced from the chassis than they actually will be when we ride around. Depending on how soft suspension we want to have. The nice thing with my suspension is that you actually can adjust it very easily. You basically only have to change the weight of a prop to change the properties of the suspension. So that's a cool feature. That's why I made this way of making a suspension, because you could actually make this a variable suspension. That sounds stupid. I think we will do that, but we will do all these important stuff first, of course. Otherwise it will be kind of, yeah. I think we could make it a variable suspension. It's really stupid. Okay, it need to be quite right. You could use advanced fancy tools also, but yeah. Now we will have a little suspension control plate here, and we can half hide it and make it another material later on. What we will do is we will weld this to the base plate, then we will play with funny axis center again. So hit the wheel and hit the suspension control, hit the wheel and hit the suspension control plate. Now this should work, and if it doesn't, it should be good if you have made a save. I have not, but that's because, yeah, I take risks. Or no, I don't very much, but you see, now we have a super bouncy suspension. We can actually make this car hop up in the air. And to change the suspension, we will go to weight tool. Set this to 1, hit the suspension control, and now you will see the weakest possible suspension. It ain't getting weaker than this. I think we will have this on a 5 maybe, like that, a 5. Ooh, like that. So it will be medium, a bit bouncy maybe. Set it to 3. Well, you can tinker around with exactly how sensible suspension you want to have. Okay. Let's take this for a little fast ride, just to show what we have accomplished. Now our gearboxes maybe should be changed, but well, whatever. Alright. And we are basically a hopping and flopping car. No, not really. Our suspension is quite decent actually. Well, it's a rather good all-around suspension. Maybe we'd actually could... well, we don't need to test the suspension now, because there is a few things left. I think that maybe we should improve the grip of this car a bit. So we will brake and hop out. This only works if you have ACF unofficial extras, but very many servers use it. Now you will take up your command and you will select your physical properties tool first. Going to command, what did I say? Phys prop with caps, like that. Phys prop, and then you write in friction. Maybe not caps, I don't know. Friction. There are 1, 2 and 3. 3 is like insane. 2 I think is very good, and 1 is also quite good. Let's try 2. I haven't tried it. And hit all the wheels, and these are better than Gmodism tire or Jeep tire. Then we should be getting a nicer grip. And well, it seems that we could actually maybe increase the angle we're still with or something. I don't know. I will check the weights of the front wheels, because our steering is a bit slow, but the friction is very good now, so we have a really good road grip, and that's what the DAS was for, basically. Alright, I did some material testing on the decks or tires. Basically they should technically be better, but I changed back to Jeep tire, for it works better than these cars. The Friction 2 seems to work better than Gmodism tire, but Jeep tire still works best for this car. Anyways, I think I want to make a system that automatically backs, because it's kind of annoying to have that you need to change to a special gear when moving backwards instead of just, I don't know, kind of like instantly pressing S and then going backwards. So while we do that, we will also upgrade to a bigger gearbox, and that is quite easy. You just find the same type of gearbox. It's a 4-speed inline small, that's mobility gearboxes. Now we go to 6-speed inline small. R is a -1 box, like that. And now the text blocks itself, it's so annoying. But hey, what do you do? Like that. Alright. Now we of course need to wire it up also. So we basically have gear up on mouse 1 and gear down on mouse 2. Then clutch on the space button. Now we have actually... Alright. Of course, we need to update our screen also. So take your wire tool again, and then we update that gearbox. Sometimes they get weird when you change gearbox, but we'll see. Oops. If it will work. Seems to work fine. Now, of course, we seem to need to tune down this a bit, but we are getting some results. Yep. Oh well. Now we will do some wiring. I think we'll fix the gearbox to this car a bit later on, if we even will do that. But, well, now there is our 6 gear that are the backwards, and well, let's do the wire. We go to, I think it's gear. I will do it, but I will do a test. Wait, or I will edit that away. I think this works. So it's a bit funny when you in the middle of tutorial get a great idea that, hey, I want to try something new. But that's fun, but it seems to be working exactly as I thought it would. So we will be spawning a couple of new gates, the basic math skills, or maybe not basic, more math than I wish to know, but well, they come to use anyways, even though this is maybe not very advanced at all. It's some simple multiplication, but it's fun. This is the fun part of math, when you actually can use it to something you like. So we have a multiply gate, and we will have I think we need 2 multiply gates actually, and then we need to have a constant value number. Yeah, we could add to the other one. We probably should, but whatever. Like that, a 6 and a 100. Now a of this one goes to the 6, a of this one goes to the 100, and when we press S, so this is, well, the B's of both these gates must go to S. Now we got a message, we check that another time, and basically when we press S now, we should be able to go backwards in full force, but we need of course to link up the the gearbox. We need to link up gear to yeah, now let's see here, it's that one, I think. We can check it fastly. Okay, yep, right, so now we should have full speed backwards when pressing S. Alright, and it doesn't work. Alright, shit, sorry for that. Now we need to add another layer of oh, this is really fun. Go to gates again. We need to have an add gate now, because we added another input that will control the throttle, but the engine is already linked to one, so we need to actually create something in between the engine. So we spawn an add gate, that's good, and we take the throttle of the add gate and slap it onto that gate instead, and then we have number A on this backwards multiplier, and then this one on the, well, multiplier we had before. So it's basically pod controller times 100. That is, when you press assign button, it will get 100, and then we will get 100% throttle. Okay, backwards, come on. Yes. And now when we go forward we can... So basically when we have using backwards we will automatically get back into neutral. And you know that is very realistical, don't you say? So say that we la 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 la. Oh, I drove into a wall. How tragic. What do? I press S and I can back out fastly. And then we have neutral in and we can fastly go switch to gear 1. And we need to fix that gearbox a little bit. But I say this is rather handy. Do you not think so too? Now, what was I thinking? I'm not sure. Oh right, gearbox. I have no idea. So, final drive, drag it down to maybe half. Nah, that's too much. Minus 0.60 maybe. And it depends of your car, if your final drive is negative or not. It's it's basically random of how you built it. So, if we stop really hard and yeah, it's easy to accelerate. Then backwards is nice too. Yeah, we don't need to backwards very fastly, so it's nice. And now my steering actually seems to be a bit well, this car drags to the left a bit. It's like, oh yeah, it's like a real car. It drags to the right. It's not very good. But well, the gearbox is a bit too weak now actually. We need to drag it down to maybe 80 instead. So like that, 80. Should be good. Alright, that needs a material. Where are your materials? And we select one. Oh, it's so slow. I'm getting crazy. Okay. Fit in. Ta-da! Excellent. That's our suspension. Just change the weight of that and you will change the suspension. I want a softer suspension because it's fun. Let's have a suspension of 1.5. 1.5. Oh, right! Now I remember what I promised before. We should make a... Okay, it probably can't take decimals, whatever. We should make a variable suspension. That's so stupid, of course we will make that. Oh right, I think we will need a... let me think. Now I know. Of course, you should probably save this if you are building, because, well, it's very sad if the game crash or anything. I haven't saved it, but it's just because it was probably a month ago my Garry's mod crashed to destroy a build, so I crushed it. Heh, it's not very smart. Basically, we just freeze that, and we have an increasement-decreasement gate here. We will have some... These models look cool. Alright, that's our up-down counter. And oh yeah, we will actually have it manually with buttons. So of course they will not be toggle. And no. Increasement and decreasement. Like that. Alright, it doesn't work. Oh, yeah, of course. We need to connect A to something that's always 1, like that one. Alright, now press that once and we have 1 and we have 0. 0 is not very good. I think we'll have a weight controller. I'm not sure if this crashes if you set the weight to 0. I'm not remembering really. So that's very exciting. Very exciting. Now, let's see here. Right. Oh yeah, the weight controller changed the weight of itself, so we actually will spawn that kind of... It would be good if we had it in the middle, but well, maybe it works anyways. Basically, take your weld tool, we freeze this, we reload to remove the weld, and then we weld it to the base plate instead. And oh well. Now we actually need to remove what's controlling the weight. So we will update the axes. So we press reload on these wheels, and then we hit the wheels, and then we hit the weight controller. We hit the wheel, and then we hit the weight controller, and hopefully this will work. Haven't we? Oh, yeah. So that's very funny. Now we can increase this by hitting up the value, and then we need to flip it up a bit. Oh. And maybe... Alright. It should be 8. Now it's 13. Alright. It doesn't seem to work because the prop is in a very weird shape. So, changeable weight didn't work with using the weight controller. You can do this with expression 2, but I don't feel like making much expression 2 stuff now. But it's possible, and it didn't work with the wire model because it was too small. So now we know that, but on the other hand, it's very simple to change the suspension anyway. Right, just from going to this little one here. And here we have it. Oh yeah. It's that weak. Well, at least we can do something very stupid. We take the regular tool muscle, and then we have an expansion of 200 or something, and maybe I don't know, like 3 or so in time, not fixed, and then we basically go in here, make a muscle to the base plate, and then on the suspension plate. And you will see. Your car will be a, cruiser car, really. In the days. Then you can look respectful when you arrive around, and you can turn it off when meeting other respectful people, and turn it on. Isn't that fantastic? Oh well, I think that was that. By the way, make the steering rods invisible again. It looks weird. So, yeah. Change the engine we could of course do, but, well, change the paint job. That's something I would want to do. Wow. I threw in some more crap in the engine's compartment, and I realized that having a teapot on the engine is so awesome. I think that will be the new signum for Gmodism Industries cars. Now featuring hot tea while you're driving. Yay. Well. Anyways, we should save this now, and well, let's find the paint and the paint. And you see, we are in the right direction. I actually didn't knew that. So, take your thing, freeze it in exact north, so your save will get correct with all your new fancy advanced ball socket stuff. And I guess that will be fine. Oh, we'll freeze the suspension so it will have the same properties. Okay, like that. Area copy by control. No, shift right click. And then we save it as Rusty Swedicana version 2 pimpe'd. Yes. Alright, so now it should work. I hope you have enjoyed this little ACF car pimp video. And I hope I will be seeing you in next video. And of course, that need to be everything in gold. No. Alright. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I will be seeing you in next video.